Another year later, Jiao's husband, Mr. Chen, saw a realm in a dream one night. An elder with a long white beard led him to walk forward, and they walked a long time to a distant place he didn't know. It was in a wilderness where there were no people around. There only lay a long wooden box. The old man said, "Mr. Chen, you are going to fall there." Chen thought that falling into that wooden box would be a cry of woe. He felt scared, so he put his palms together and chanted Namo Amitabha Buddha aloud. Within a few dozen chants, a country girl, about 18 years old, suddenly came along and pointed her finger at me and said, "Go back now." When he woke up, it was just a dream. When he woke up in the morning, he told his wife, Jiao, that he had a bad dream last night, and he was lucky to chant the Buddha's name during the dream. Otherwise, the consequence would be unimaginable. Jiao immediately went to the Buddha, burned incense and lit candles, and prayed for the Buddha's compassion and blessing so that he could turn big things into trivial matters and turn trivial matters into nothing. At that time, Chen was contracting to build a third-floor house, and the project was almost completed. That day, after he had eaten breakfast, he felt depressed because of the scaring nightmare last night. When he went to the construction site, he just thought to go up to the third floor to check. Suddenly came a worker who said to Chen, "You do not have to go up, I will go to check it out." After the worker stepped onto the wooden ladder, Chen still stood there and took out a cigarette from his pocket. When he was striking a match to light his cigarette, suddenly he heard a bang and looked up. It turned out that the worker who just went up to the third floor instead of him accidentally stepped on the wrong foot and fell to the ground from upstairs. At that time, Chen hadn't smoked his cigarette yet. He was shocked and immediately stepped forward to help the worker up, and he was already unconscious. Chen hired a cab and took him to the hospital for emergency treatment. However, because of the severe brain shock, he expired in the car. When they arrived at the hospital, nothing could bring his life back. Chen held a solemn funeral for him and gave tens of thousands of dollars to his surviving family. Then this accident was over. After this disaster, Chen lost his wealth, but he survived the misfortune. However, he has been overshocked since that day, as if his soul did not possess on his body. His wife, Jiao, was very anxious, so she went to ask Sister Jinji and explained the above situation to her. Jinji taught her to prepare a cup of water, chant the Great Compassion mantra 7 times before the Buddha, and let him drink it. Luckily if it works, otherwise, he must go to the hospital for diagnosis immediately. According to Jinji's method, Jiao respectfully recited the mantra 7 times and gave it to her husband, who was able to recover gradually and was cured without medication. At this point, there must be somebody having a question. The Buddha is a great compassionate person. Why did he save only one person but did not save the poor worker who died? We have to know that the mind can create karma and change karma. Chen has been trained by his wife to recite the Buddha's teachings, and the Vajra seeds of Amitabha have been sown in his 8 consciousness fields. So he got the bad omen ahead. In a dream that night, an elder took him to another realm and asked him to burrow into a wooden box. Fortunately, the seed of Amitabha Buddha in his field of 8 senses arose. And he suddenly folded his palms and recited the Buddha. Thus, he turned doom into auspiciousness and avoided the disaster. As for the worker, it's not that the Buddhas did not want to save him, because ordinary people accept the false as the truth, take suffering as a pleasure, and only focus on the enjoyment in front of them. They are bewildered and upside down. When the doom comes, they mess up. How would they clasp their palms together and recite the holy names of Buddhas? If you don't chant Buddha, you can't change your fate. When it's time to register in the Yama city, you have to go. As the saying goes, if the king of Yama has appointed someone to die at midnight, he will refuse to keep anyone past 5 a.m. We think this way, the death of the worker is no exception. It is because the determined karma is not changeable. Perhaps some people still wonder why Chen had inspiration and was safe and not compensated during the demolition of the building a few years ago. This time, he lost a lot of money and was in danger. Why didn't he get sheltered by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? You should know that all practitioners are very devout when they first bring forth the resolves, but after a while, the environment changes. According to the cause and effect of each individual, whether in favorable or adverse circumstances, they will be rewarded what they deserve. It's because, at that time, the family of the Jiao couple, together with the child, brought forth the resolves, sincerely reciting the Buddha's name day and night. Later, although Chen was shocked and lost money by the sudden disaster, he was still lucky to be able to get a lighter retribution. There are still blessings by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the dark.